Welcome to the Red Pill Podcast, powered by AgencyX.net. Explore AI-driven creativity, groundbreaking innovations, and industry insights, all in one game-changing podcast. Enjoy.
Okay, let's unpack this. We've got a really fascinating deep dive ahead of us today.
Yeah, looking right at the cutting edge of AI and creativity.
Exactly. Specifically, we're diving into some source material, this article someone shared with us, and it asks a genuinely provocative question about generative AI.
The kind that creates images, yeah.
Right. I mean, you've seen what this tech can do, haven't you? These stunning, hyper-realistic images just conjured from a text prompt.
Oh, absolutely. Like a perfect dew-kissed rose or, the tiny lines on a weathered face.
Or a bustling city street shimmering at dusk. It's incredible, really, how it can mirror reality with such fidelity.
Sometimes it genuinely fools the eye. You can't tell it's not a photo.
And the source we're exploring points this out. It says, yeah, achieving that level of photorealism is a massive technical accomplishment.
Totally. It proves these models have a really sophisticated grasp of light, physics, texture.
Basically how our visual world works.
Right.
But here's where it gets really interesting and where this article kind of pushes the conversation forward.
Okay.
It asks, is mastering the mirror, perfecting reality replication, is that the ultimate destination?
Are we maybe putting a limit on ourselves?
Exactly. By fixating on it, are we maybe building the article calls it a gilded cage for digital imagination, limiting what it could create?
Interesting way to put it.
So our mission in this deep dive is to understand that magnetic pull of photorealism.
I were so focused on it.
And then explore this source's argument for venturing into something much less defined, something it calls phantasm.
Right, the territory of pure, unprecedented imagination.
Okay, so let's start there. Why has achieving photorealism been such a dominant goal for AI image generation?
Well, the source lays out some really clear drivers, and the first one feels almost intuitive.
It's a benchmark, right? A measure of mastery.
Absolutely. Think about it like this. If an AI can flawlessly recreate a photograph of, say, a cat, it proves it understands what a cat looks like, how light falls on its fur, the physics of its whiskers, all that stuff.
It's a concrete test, measurable. Shows its visual intelligence and capability.
It's a clear demonstration of power and precision. You can see that it works.
Yeah, it's like proving you can perfectly play a classical piece note for note before you start, improvising completely new music.
Good analogy. And it's not just about showing off the text chops either.
No, the article emphasizes the huge practical value, utility.
Right. And this is key to why there's been so much focus, so much investment here. Hyperrealism isn't just like art for art's sake.
It solves real-world problems.
Exactly. Imagine product design seeing exactly how something will look before you even build a prototype.
Architectural visualization.
Medical simulations, historical reconstructions.
High-end visual effects in movies, all these fields demand images that are basically indistinguishable from reality.
It's incredibly useful. Practical.
And then there's also a simple human reason the source touches on. Just familiarity and comfort.
Yeah, that makes sense. We are wired to understand images that look like the world we actually live in, right?
Totally. Photorealistic images are immediately relatable.
They tap into our existing understanding, evoke emotions based on our shared experience of reality.
There's a certain trust, maybe?
Yeah.
An ease when something looks real to us?
Yeah, it doesn't require that leap of interpretation in the same way something really abstract might. You just get it.
And let's be honest. That's the plain old wow factor.
Oh, for sure.
The first time you see an AI generate a truly convincing photograph of something that never existed, it's just astonishing.
It feels a bit like magic, doesn't it? Pushes your perception of what's even possible with technology.
It's a powerful demonstration. It says, look, the machine gets reality.
And this is the crucial bit. That's precisely the jumping off point for the article's main argument.
Correct.
If the tools are so good at mimicking reality, what happens when they stop mimicking and start, inventing?
Which brings us neatly to this idea of phantasm, moving beyond the mirror into pure, unprecedented imagination.
Yeah, the source describes this transition as going from mimicry to genesis.
Mimicry to genesis.
Okay.
I like that.
That's a really crucial distinction the source makes. Photorealism is fundamentally about sophisticated replication.
Copying well.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Reassembling and rendering the elements of our known world. Phantasm, on the other hand, is about invention.
Creating from scratch.
Right. It's asking the AI to synthesize entirely novel concepts, forms, textures, visual languages, stuff that has absolutely no direct anchor in our physical reality.
Okay, give me an example. Like, what does that even look like? Are we talking landscapes built from solidified sound?
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, creatures that embody abstract mathematical equations?
Exactly. That's precisely the kind of territory the source suggests we could explore.
Wow.
It's where AI isn't just automating existing visual tasks, but could truly unlock, unprecedented forms of creativity.
So it's not just augmenting our ability to depict the real.
No, it's expanding human potential to conceive and visualize realms we simply couldn't easily imagine or create on our own before. It offers entirely new visual palettes, new ways of seeing.
So it's really about evolving visual language itself, not just perfecting the current one we use to describe reality.
Precisely. The article draws a parallel just as photography kind of liberated painting from the sole burden of representation.
Right. Painters could then explore abstraction, impressionism.
Exactly. AI phantasm could potentially fundamentally alter our visual culture in a similar way. Why be bound by physics or biology when you can create visuals governed by, well, the article says, the logic of dreams, emotions, or pure aesthetic principles we haven't even named yet.
That makes incredible sense. If you can perfectly copy reality, the real creative frontier has to be inventing something utterly different.
It seems logical, yeah.
But okay, if it's so appealing, why aren't we surrounded by AI-generated phantasm everywhere?
Yeah.
The article doesn't shy away from the fact that there are significant hurdles.
No, it definitely highlights that generating compelling phantasm is arguably a much harder problem than photorealism in many ways.
Harder? How so?
Well, photorealism is about mastering known patterns, structures of our world, stuff we can point to. Phantasm requires the AI to develop a deeper, more abstract, almost conceptual understanding. It needs to move from passive recognition, that's a cat, to active invention.
And then there's the fundamental data dilemma it brings up.
Ah, yes, the training data. Current models are trained overwhelmingly on images and text from the real world or describing the real world.
Right. So how do you train an AI to create the profoundly unreal when all your training data is steeped in reality?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? You need training data, or maybe radically new training methods that can somehow describe concepts that don't exist yet. That's a huge challenge.
Yeah, and how do you even prompt it? How do you ask an AI to create something utterly beyond reality if our very language is built on describing the physical world we know?
The article calls this defining the undefined, which feels, like wrestling with fog, as you say.
It's a linguistic challenge as much as the technical one.
That's exactly it. Our prompts, our descriptions, our entire vocabulary is still deeply tied to the real world. We currently lack the language and the frameworks to consistently guide an AI toward generating pure novelty in a coherent, non-random way.
And coherence is key, isn't it? The article notes that just generating random weirdness is easy.
Oh yeah, anyone can just glitch a model or throw random noise at it.
But generating phantasm that is internally consistent, visually compelling, maybe even emotionally resonant, that's the hard part.
It demands that the AI grasps abstract aesthetic principles, maybe potential narrative structures, at a fundamental level, not just assembling bizarre elements arbitrarily.
Okay, that makes sense. And finally, there's the cultural comfort zone the source mentioned.
Ah, right. Us.
Yeah, us. We as users and creators in the industries we work in are still heavily invested in and focused on the tangible benefits and established workflows of photorealism.
True. There's massive market demand, existing pipelines that prioritize photorealism. Pushing into pure phantasm requires pioneers, really. People willing to explore technically uncharted territory.
That might not have an immediate or obvious commercial payoff.
It's a bigger leap of faith, definitely.
So the source isn't saying, ditch photorealism entirely. Not at all.
No, it's advocating for intentional exploration beyond it. And it suggests a path forward involving new approaches.
Like what?
Like prioritizing research into models specifically designed for abstract concept generation, experimenting with synthetic datasets built on non-realistic principles.
And actively incorporating theories and principles from, say, abstract art and avant-garde design, learning from humans who already think outside the box.
Yes, and crucially, working with artists and creative thinkers in a genuinely new way.
How so?
Not just giving them a faster paintbrush for realism, but giving them tools that actively suggest the unexpected, the unreal, the truly novel.
So the AI becomes more like a creative partner in exploring phantasm.
Rather than just an automated assistant for realism.
Exactly. The source also suggests we need to kind of embrace what it playfully terms the uncanny valley of imagination.
The uncanny valley of imagination. What's that?
Basically, accepting that early attempts at pure invention might be strange, awkward, maybe even unsettling.
Okay.
And seeing them not as failures, but as necessary steps toward mastering this new form of genesis. It's like the awkward phase before you become fluent in a new language.
Right, to stumble a bit before you can run. Okay.
Makes sense.
So what does this all mean then? Where does this leave us? We've explored the powerful reasons why photorealism has been such a dominant focus for AI image generation.
Yeah, from serving as that clear benchmark of technical mastery
to offering immense practical utility in industries that rely on realistic visuals.
and just providing the familiarity and, let's face it, the wow factor that deeply appeals to us humans.
Right. But our deep dive into the source material also compellingly highlights that while photorealism was, a necessary and incredible first act, proving the machine could see and replicate our world.
The true, perhaps even more profound promise of generative AI might not lie in holding up that perfect mirror.
But in opening a window to universes unseen.
And this idea of phantasm isn't just presented as some alternative style choice.
No, it's framed as the genuine frontier of machine creativity. It demands models move beyond just pixel-level matching to a deeper, more abstract understanding of concepts and aesthetic principles.
Despite those very real hurdles, like needing completely new training data and the challenge of even finding the language to define the undefined.
Yeah, those are significant challenges.
So this deep dive really leaves us with a truly compelling thought drawn straight from the source. The biggest creative challenge for AI now isn't just to replicate the world,
but to dream up entirely new ones.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If AI truly moves beyond the mirror into pure guided imagination, what incredible, maybe even bizarre new forms of art, design, and visual language might emerge.
What kind of worlds could we collaboratively explore that completely defy the physics, the biology, the logic we currently understand?
It's a mind-bending prospect to think about.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Red Pill Podcast. If you enjoyed diving deep into the future of AI and media, make sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Stay tuned. Bigger insights, bolder ideas, and game-changing discussions are coming your way. Sponsored by agencyx.net.